Welcome to a Friday Reads, where I talk about what I read, what I'm reading, maybe what I'll get to next. I don't even know if I know what I'm getting to next, but I have a lot to chat about. I have a pretty good book haul, one from a publisher, a few that I got from the bookstore this week because I have no self-control, and my aunt sent me back with a bunch of books after I saw her in Colombia. So, let's get into it, and despite the fact that I have not read the first, 3 days of the month, I think have finished 3 things, and I'm solidly in the middle of 2 tomes, so I'm I don't know, not as overwhelmed. I'm still catching up. I still feel like I'm catching up from last month's TBR, but I'm not stressed about it, but there are definitely books I really want to read. Yeah, anyways, we'll get into it, starting with the first book I finished, which is Fourth Wing. I can now say I have read Fourth Wing, and I picked it because I was going to be on 2 fairly long flights. Getting to Columbia is not too far away from Boston, but it's still 6 hours each way, about, depending on how you split up the layovers and the connections and things. And I wanted a book that would be engaging and unputdownable. And everything everyone talked about made me think that for me and my taste, this is what it was going to be. Not deep, just a perfect airplane read. And it was. And it met the assignment, and it had a lot to do to meet the assignment because the travel trauma of this journey was tough. I fly a lot. I fly internationally a lot, and I've never quite had the flying experiences that I've had on this trip. It was a time. And to say that I was able to escape into this book was wonderful because I needed that. And I came to it for the romance elements. A lot of the things people talked about it on the romance subplot of it all. I'm oh, I love all of those buzzwords. But I wasn't prepared to love Violet as much as I did. She's a very competent, smart character. She has a disability and has to go to this war school, but she still problem solves her way through, and I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed the boundaries she sets for herself, and I enjoy, she cares about herself. She doesn't have, a confidence issue, but she's also not arrogant. I really like Violet. Was not prepared to like Violet, because normally when I read a fantasy romance or something like that, the main female characters, I'm always you're fine, but you're not why I'm here. And actually, if this never had a romance plot, I would have enjoyed just following Violet. That said, I did very much enjoy the romance stuff. That was exactly what I wanted. It was great. Predictable in every way I wanted it to be. Was getting a little annoyed near the end. If you've read near the end, I'm ah. So we'll see what the second book brings, which I do need. And I'm excited that that comes out in November, which is also usually my escapist fantasy time. Because, you're kind of busy around the time. Well, for me, I'm busy around that time with my family, so I just need a book at night that's just really fun, doesn't need a lot of brain power because I've already spent my brain power. So that was really fun. And then also the fantasy part was stronger than I was led to believe. I don't know. I don't think it's the best world building. I'm sure the world building's not that great, but it was strong enough that I didn't notice the holes. And I was very into this dragon thing. The school part, whatever, it was there enough to facilitate character interactions, which the friend group, also very fun. Was having a lot of fun there. You know me, I love a good friend group. So the school thing was enough to facilitate friend group, sense of dread, make characters bump into each other. That's all I want school settings to do. And the dragon parts were, they added more of my favorite tropes. And I'll be vague because honestly, no one talked about it, and I was very surprised when we got to the dragon parts. I was oh, this is very fun. And I'm not a dragon girl. I don't pick up fantasy because dragons are in them. I don't know why. This is not the fantasy I grew up with. Probably the same reason I don't like quest fantasy as much as most people. But this was very fun for me. And I'm very excited for the second book. So that was a win. And it knew the assignment. It met the assignment. I was very happy about it. Then I needed to pick up Night Crawling because we had our local book club discussion a few days ago. This is the youngest author to ever be listed on the Booker long list. And oh boy, this was a heavy book, which I knew it would be heavy going in, but I think I misunderstood what night crawling meant. And I even reread the back of the book because I felt bad because I pitched this to my book club and we still had a fantastic discussion. But it's definitely a book where you shouldn't go into it not knowing what it's about because it is heavy, it is a lot, it's painful, it also has a lot of hope. It's very good art. I really enjoy it. But my issue, well, it wasn't an issue, but I read the back of the book and it says, a drunken knight leads to a new, job in night crawling or something like that. And I thought of the movie Nightcrawler, where people do the nighttime investigative journalism and stuff like that about accidents and whatever. At least I think that's my interpretation. No, this is her, selling her body for money. And she's 17. And her life situations in Oakland are really hard. And all of that's difficult. And then you add on abuse by police force. And it's just, Kiara's life is really hard to follow. But Kiara's voice is so beautiful to read the way she interacts with the world, the way she chooses to hold on to certain moments of light, the way that she sits in moments of happiness while she dissociates herself from moments that are too hard. I really loved how this story was told, like if it had to be told, which it should be. Like, I don't think a lot of people know about how the police abuse Black and brown women to this extent. Like, this is not abnormal, and it's actually based off a real life case that happened in Oakland, where the author is from. And so reading something that hard, that heavy, and there are moments where you're scared and you're upset and you're like, why is the world this way? Constantly. I think that at the same time, Kiara like focuses on the little things in a way that I think helps you exist. Like, I read a lot of hard-hitting fiction for my local book club, and sometimes I'm like, this is too heavy for me, and this is too much. I don't want it to focus this much on the darkness for my tastes. And so this kind of towed that line really well for me. I'm not saying it's easy, like, at all. There are scenes that will rip your heart out, and they're not even necessarily the scenes you would think. Like, for a book that's about a woman trying to survive by selling herself on the streets, it was about that, but it really, everything we talked about at book club was not really about that. There was so much more to talk about in this like 280 page book. So highly recommend for a book club, just eyes wide open going in. I still don't know how to rate it because it was so hard to read, even though while I was reading I did the audiobook and it was beautiful. I mean, this author is also a poet and you can feel that, like, and so that probably means for some people, are the prose too purple? For me, it worked. Sometimes what people describe as purple prose actually really work for me and help me see scenes in ways that, like, I don't normally get to. Like, there's scenes of her making pancakes and cakes with this young man, and it's like, those are the scenes I remember. And her sense of self in space was really strong to me, which is when you can notice when she's dissociating, not because she's saying, I'm dissociating. It's because suddenly there's this absence of this character responding to her space that we've had so strongly previously, like how she interacts with riding on the bus or walking down the street, playing basketball. Like, I don't know, I just found it really immersive, but also that made it really hard. So, yeah, eyes wide open going into that one, be in the right headspace, but it is very good and important art, especially if you live in the United States and don't realize that this is going on. I mean, it's fiction, but she did a lot of research. She even had a sex worker read it to try and make sure she was representing at least what she had chosen to written. I mean, all careers, not a monolith, but due diligence was at least done, and I thought it was done really well. The next one that I finished is The Dragon City, the third, Rain Wild, by Robin Hobb. And this is easily my least favorite of the series, not because it's bad, but because, like, the first 200 pages are just a recap of, like, the first two books. And I'm just like, but why? And when you finish the book, like, think there are moments of awesomeness. But overall, it's like, this whole quartet could have been a trilogy, and you can tell that things are not being done in the way that Robin Hobb normally does things. Robin Hobb is not normally this repetitive. I've read many other books. It feels like someone who's been given, like, an essay assignment and is being told, even though, you know, your essay would be fine content-wise at 4,000 words, because it's being submitted for your final exam, it needs to be 5,000 words. So you're like, well, how do I add 1,000 words? And you start, you know, repeating yourself. That's how it feels. Like, the assignment was, well, we need this to be a quartet, not a trilogy or not a duology, so we need you to stretch. And I can feel that. I normally am not editor brain for Robin Hobb. I have other things I don't always love about Robin Hobb's works, but it's never this. This is such an odd complaint from me. So yeah, I mean, I like the setup for the fourth book. But again, it's like, how many setup books can we have in a quartet? Like, every book has so much setup to it. The first book is setting up the entire series. I actually really like Dragon Keeper, but it is just like a get ready to go on the quest. The second book, we're kind of on the quest, but we're rehashing what happens in the first book, so we take a while to get back to the quest part, but then it's cool, and, you know, we do the questy part, and the third book's supposed to be like, okay, now, what do we do after the revelations of the second book? And instead, we're just setting up the fourth book. And I don't know, it just was odd for me. I didn't enjoy that. That said, in our buddy read, Grace and Ben really like it. So, like, all the flaws I have didn't, like, affect them, because they're not egregious. Just for me, I was extra bored in those moments. And like I said, it's like a long time before things happen, like 180, 200 pages before anything new happens. And I'm just like, guys, what are we doing? And, like, sometimes you just have those same internal monologues. I'm like, have we not, like, I know this is how brains work. Like, I know when you have, like, an issue. You hyperfixate on it. You don't let it go. It doesn't just go away. But it's a book. Like, I don't need real life brains being dumb, you know? So I think those are the only things I have finished, which I'm not mad about. And then I have 2 other books that I am solidly most of the way through that I need to finish because they are, like, I'm catching up with the June TBR. So we have Chaos Vector. I'm about halfway through. This is a sequel to Velocity Weapon. It is our patron buddy read-along series, and it is very fun. It is just like a really nice, I don't know, mid-weight sci-fi adventure space opera. I'm just very engaged with the characters and the scenarios. There's this beautiful version of the miscommunication trope in here. Like, it's not a bad version. Like, a character actively tried to communicate, and it still didn't work. And I'm just like, no. Oh, it's so stressful. And, like, something has happened, and I don't know if it's going to stick, and I'm unokay. Okay, so, like, this has a lot of... I'm kind of ignoring a thing that has happened and hoping there's going to be, like, some sci-fi-ness to undo stuff. I don't know. Anyways, this book's been very fun. Like, if if you're someone like me who doesn't always read plot-driven thing, I think this is, like, the right type of plot-driven for our taste, because there's still, like, characters you're latching onto, there's still great team dynamics, and the world building is fleshed out enough, but it's, like, it's just a really good, I don't know, like I said, plot-driven time. I wish I had the audiobook, because then I could probably be done with this by now, but I think my suspicion is it's Audible exclusive, because I can't get it from any of my libraries. So, who knows? But really enjoying this. Definitely a sci-fi author I'm going to just be reading more from, because I think she had a new release this year with maybe the sequel not too far behind it? Unsure. But this has been really fun. And it's a good pairing with the other one I'm reading, which is Dark Age, which is too heavy, so I'm going to put an image up of it. But for record, I'm this far. Dark Age is also a space opera, but it is a very slow-paced and dark and hits you while you down space opera. And, you know, it's interesting. So I've been rereading this with, you know, Leanna and Alex. We'll have the live show for this, not this weekend, but maybe next weekend. That's what we're tentatively thinking about. When I know anything, I'll share on the community tab. And the first 4 books... like, there were things I couldn't quite remember, but I remembered the shape of the novel. I remembered big moments. They weren't, like, big twists that I had suddenly forgotten. That is not the case with Dark Age. Like, Dark Age, I'm like, oh, I forgot this chapter was a thing. Or, oh, I forgot about that betrayal. Or, like, it was... Anyways, I still have complaints about this one, and I do think it is because it is focusing on things I find less interesting, and then when it is focusing on things I like, we're punching down on characters I enjoy. So, like, part 1 is only Darrow and Lysander, and that was so tedious to me. And I understand. I think it's meant to be tedious. It's like Assassin Quest by Robin Hobb. Sometimes the tedium is meant to exist as part of the art. It's a feature, not a bug. It's still kind of boring to me. And it's more battle-focused. And then part 2, we get to finally have, like, a Virginia point of view, and I love Virginia. And we're back less on the battlefront and more on the politics behind the scene, which I have way more fun with in this series, even though I do think I was more emotionally affected in part 2, so I'm in the middle of part 2 right now. And it's one of those things where I'm just like, I don't remember much of anything. And, like, my memory's pretty good. I still think this might be one of my least favorites of the series just because of the pacing, and I tend to come to Red Rising for better pacing for my tastes, but I am, I think, appreciating its project more this time around. And, I purposefully didn't read it while I was on vacation because I tried that last time, and I was like, no, this is not a vacation read. This is a little more work than what your brain is willing to bring forth on vacation. So those are the 2 I'm in the middle of. And then what I might get to next, I have some rereads I really want to get to. So I don't know. I mean, I'm reading some big things, so I feel like I should read something short next. So Best of All Possible Worlds might be happening. A few people have already started the buddy read for this in the Discord, and I've been feeling it. I've been feeling it. And especially where my mental health's at, I think it would be good to dive in. But obviously the Mask of Mirrors is always on deck. So those are the 2 that I'm kind of thinking about. I also do have the T. Kingfisher that I'm supposed to read this month, and that's on my Kindle. So I don't know for sure. So you'll have to, see next week what I end up doing, because I also hauled some books, and maybe I'll read some of those. I have no clue. But I will show you this little book haul first. All right, so first, I asked my aunt, so my aunt lives in Venezuela, to, are there any books in Spanish she could bring me, especially, kids' books and stuff like that. And I don't know much about most of these, but she brought me a fair few, and I'm really excited about it. So, I've just got some nice kids' book. This is Los Hermanos de Teresa, and then we have Teresa, so this seems like the same author. So I don't know which one's first, but excited to have these kids' books. This one looks fun. Un puente hacia Terabithia. Oh! I've never even read this in English. But this is, I think, a Spanish translation of this English book. Terabithia sounds so familiar to me. And this cover also is reminding me of things. So I have this kid's book. She got me an Isabel Allende in Spanish. I think this is her favorite, Amor. And then I have El Príncipe Feliz y Otros Cuentos. This is, I think, like a bunch of kids' stories in here. You know, big font. So I'm excited to have those to continue my Spanish journey. And then continuing, I guess, with South America, the publisher sent me The Sun in the Void, which comes out this month, I think next Tuesday. Maybe the following Tuesday. I can't keep track of July releases. I think it's probably the last Tuesday of the month. It's decoed edges, which honestly I wasn't expecting because I guess obviously ARCs wouldn't have decoed edges. I got an ARC as well, and the ARC was also glossy, so this is more matted. I actually do really like how this looks, so I'm glad to have it. I probably won't reread it, but it has pretty art in it. If you didn't know, these editions have really nice art, and the author herself does the art. So we have, I don't know if she did the map, but you know, that's the map. But there's good character art that I'm trying to find because I did look at it because I thought it was really pretty. Oh my gosh, let's go. All right, so this is Reina, one of our characters. And then we have Ava on the next page. So yeah. I'm still bummed. This was only a 3.5 star for me, but I still think about it a lot. So I'm hoping the sequel comes out soon and I'll be able to dive in and, I don't know, see what it has in store for me. The other two, so I was at book club, talked about night crawling, and I, browsing the bookshelves as I do, and I think it was Aiden in the Discord was mentioning this short story collection by Sarah Pinsker, and then I saw it, and I'm like, well, I've liked Sarah Pinsker's short story and novel, so of course I should get this short story collection. So this is from Small Beer Press, and yeah, I'm very, very excited to have the short story collection. I don't know, I really like Sarah Pinsker's ideas. I have not disliked anything I've read by her. So exciting. And then I got Bitter Medicine. It was just on the shelf, and then I read the first couple pages. I'm like, this writing style is working for me, and sometimes I really do like a contemporary fantasy, which this is like a contemporary urban fantasy romance, and I was vibing with the character's voice, and I'm like, I bet this is going to be one of those, for me, kind of cozy contemporary experiences. I don't know if it's actually labeled as cozy, but it felt like for me this could be great, and I know it's gotten a lot of mixed reviews, but I just figured we're going to try it. We're going to pick it up and try it. Also, it feels really nice. I'm a sucker. When I go into the bookstore and a book feels nice. So I have it. Worst case, I don't like it. I sell it back, right? So this might be a book I pick up recently just because this and the best of all possible worlds, I don't know, there's just a thing I'm kind of craving at the moment. A comfort thing. Maybe comfort's the right word, not cozy. So those are the things I hauled. And now I also need to tell you guys about a TV show I've started because I love it. This is My Adventures with Superman. And yes, I will not apologize for who I'm becoming. I spent years of my life consuming DC material. Years. I watched original Batman, Superman. I grew up consuming so much DC content. And then, their movies weren't that good. I mean, they were okay, but and then Man of Steel made me mad. I'm one of those people who did not like Man of Steel because I grew up with a different Superman. We're not going to say it's not canon, but the Superman I grew up with is not as weighted down as the Zack Snyder Superman interpretation. And so I was always bummed by that, and then none of the movies were ever that fun to me, and I have such a low bar. So then the MCU happens, and they have good stuff. I'm like, okay, fine. But I didn't grow up on MCU, and they're fun stuff, and I don't mind the IPs, and I've grown to love a lot of the things. But finding the animated TV shows when Ryan and I were sick, and then this new one coming out, oh my god, this is Clark Kent, guys. This is amazing. It is so cute, and only 2 episodes are out so far, and I think they've released them for free on YouTube. I know you can get it through cable because it's on Adult Swim, and I know it's on Max in the United States. I don't know if it's anywhere else, but it's so cute and fun and everything I love Superman stuff to be. And it's just proof of concept of well, how do you make Superman interesting? Focus on him as a person, because he's not a boring person just because he has powers. Yeah, and I love Lois, and I love Jimmy, and I love that we're taking this as kind of late college, starting an internship point in his life, and it's actually, I think, modernized in a really fun way, because I haven't really seen a good modernized Superman either. Smallville, obviously, is set in its time period, contemporary, but even now, you rewatch that, and it's oh, no one has smartphones yet, because it's 2002. So this, there's smartphones, there's texting, he's in a sweatshirt hoodie at one point. It's so cute. I'm just... Listen, guys, I need this show to do well. I'm living for it. I'm living for all the Superman content I'm hopefully going to get in the future. I don't know what James Gunn's doing. He's releasing some odd character lists, but I'm here for it. Like, whatever. I want DC to do well. Like, I want to watch Blue Beetle. I actually only just met that character by watching the animated TV shows. I think it was like Teen Titan versus Justice League. I'd watched that movie earlier this year. Those animated movies are really fun, by the way, if you like animations, which I do. Also, My Adventures with Superman is the same animation team who did Avatar: Last Airbender and Legends of Korra, which I love. So, yeah. That's just my public service announcement of this show's great, guys. I am having a blast. But that's this Friday Reads. Like I said, don't really know what I'm getting to next, but I'm pretty content with at least what I've accomplished, all things considered. So yeah, let me know what you're reading, doing, watching. If you want to just leave me an emoji to let me know you're here. Oh, I don't know. How about a snake, because of the cover of Dark Age? There's a snake on it. And otherwise, like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.